My partner snapped when I told them I was done funding their hobbies. You know that moment when you decide enough is enough and just say it out loud? That's exactly how it started. I told them, calmly but firmly, that I was done funding their hobbies. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. It wasn't just a sentence. It was enough to send everything spiraling into chaos, like someone threw a match in a gasoline tanker. For years, I had been quietly footing the bill for every little thing that caught their attention: gadgets, gear, classes, weird collectibles I didn't get, and frankly, things that had zero impact on either of us. I was the silent sponsor of a never-ending hobby spree, just because I wanted to keep the peace. But inside, the resentment was building like a hidden storm, just waiting for the right moment to explode. That moment was now. The silence after I said the words was deafening at first. I could see it in their eyes: shock, disbelief. I almost wanted to smile because, finally, the truth was out. But that was only the calm before the storm. Their reaction was immediate and intense, not just anger, but a bizarre mix of hurt and outrage, like I'd committed some unforgivable act. Suddenly, I wasn't just the partner anymore. I was the villain who dared to stop the free flow of cash to their hobbies. It got worse when they started arguing, throwing out things like, "You don't support me," or "You never helped me chase my dreams." Every excuse, every manipulation technique they had was laid on thick, because let's be honest, when you're used to having someone bankroll your passions without question, the moment you're told no feels like a personal attack. But here's the thing, none of those hobbies had ever really been dreams for me. It was all a one-sided dream, fueled by their wishes and a heavy reliance on my support. The truth was, I'd sacrificed too much time, money, my own goals, all to keep a peace that was just a thin veneer covering years of imbalance. As the days passed, the tension didn't ease. It simmered beneath the surface, turning casual conversations into battlegrounds. Every small disagreement felt magnified because we both knew the real issue wasn't just the money, it was control, respect, or, more accurately, the stark absence of both. I started noticing things I had been too tired or too blind to see: missed promises to return the money, empty apologies, and excuses that piled up like junk in a closet that no one wanted to clean out. The breaking point came one night when there was a big purchase, something extravagant and completely unnecessary, bought without a word while I was at work. When I found out, it felt like the last straw snapping under pressure. I confronted them, and this time, there was no denial. Instead, I got a cold shrug and the infamous line, "Well, you're just going to say no anyway." That was the moment that hit me. This wasn't about hobbies anymore. It was about entitlement, manipulation, and the presumption that I would always be the fallback. I realized then something vital. I wasn't just fighting over money. I was fighting for my own dignity and the right to set boundaries that should have been respected from the start. So I doubled down. No more dodging, no more softening the blow. I made it clear, whether it was hobbies, expenses, or anything else, things were changing. If they wanted support, they needed to show respect and responsibility, not just empty promises and reckless spending. And here's where the drama turns ridiculous, because instead of stepping up or taking responsibility, they decided to double down on their demands, trying everything from guilt trips to passive-aggressive comments. They even tried to rally friends and family, painting me as the bad guy, the controlling partner who doesn't understand passion. It was absurd, and frankly, it only highlighted how far they were willing to go to avoid facing the problem themselves. At that point, it became clear that this wasn't a healthy relationship anymore. It was a toxic cycle of one person taking and the other giving until there was nothing left. It was exhausting, and I knew that if I didn't step out, I'd lose myself completely. So I set some hard lines. Financial independence had to be mutual. If they couldn't meet that, then there was no place for the old dynamic to survive. The aftermath was messy arguments, slammed doors, and cold silences. But underneath all that chaos, there was a strange kind of clarity. Freed from enabling habits and excuses, I found myself gaining ground. I started focusing on building my own things again, projects and dreams that weren't attached to anyone else's whims or expectations. And as for them? Without the endless financial safety net, the cracks started showing. Hobbies that once seemed so important suddenly lost their shine when the money wasn't there. More surprisingly, some of the charm and manipulation faded too, replaced by a grudging acceptance that things were different. They pushed back, sure, but it wasn't the same relentless demand, it was more like a reluctant truce. In the end, what felt like a devastating break turned into a kind of victory. Not because I won against someone else, but because I reclaimed control over my own life. The real antagonists here, the selfishness, the entitlement, the refusal to respect boundaries, lost because they ignored the fundamental truth. Respect can't be bought, and support isn't endless when it's one-sided. So yeah, I told them I was done funding their hobbies, and it blew up in ways I never expected. But that explosion cleared the air, and finally, it gave me the space to breathe, to choose what matters to me without guilt or fear. Sometimes saying no is the most powerful thing you can do, and sometimes it's the only way to begin winning your life back. If you made it this far into the video, that means you enjoyed it, so make sure to like and subscribe because it helps out more than you think.